On today's show, late game execution fails the Dallas Mavericks again. Let's talk about the decisions made late. Let's talk about Luka. And can we talk about Kyrie being awesome? Today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
We have
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Amazing.
Your team every day.
Still can't eat milk.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being an everydayer and making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter. Get news and analysis straight to your inbox. The best stuff from the Dallas Mavericks and other NBA teams all across that, straight to your inbox. Check the QR code or the link in the description. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And joining me, as always, co-host, media member, the post-game prince, the one we're thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Well, I don't have much for you right now. It's a pretty frustrating loss in Denver. But hey, we have Captain Klay return to look forward to on Tuesday tomorrow.
And from the deep, dark depths, the post-game prodigy from the Great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What you got for me, Slightly Biased? Just a deep sigh from an angsty sigh from Slightly.
In store for another really fun first half of the Maverick season.
And here we go again. Today's episode, we'll talk about the Mavs. We'll talk about some of the things that happened in this game against the Denver Nuggets. Mavs lose 122 to 120. Came down to it at the very end there. We'll talk about Kyrie being awesome though. 43 points, career or season high for him in this one. Couple other contributions from guys like Gafford and others, but let's start here, gentlemen. The late game execution has failed the Dallas Mavericks again. Another clutch loss. They're 1-4 in clutch games so far this season. Some just absolutely horrendous decisions late. And in this one, it came down to it again. The Mavs had 118 to 116 lead with 2 minutes, 27 seconds left. This is even after the challenge call that we'll talk about with Luka and Murray and all that. Like, they still had a lead late. They even had a lead at 139 late with 139 left. They were up by 2 at that point. And go down the other end. Gafford plays pretty good defense on Jokic in the post. Jokic misses a shot. You're saying, all right, great. Gafford had 5 fouls. You're feeling good about that play. And then with a minute left, Luka just holds the ball and takes a real deep 3 late in this game. Go back to the other end. Jokic puts back his own shot. Tie game. Go the other end. Kyrie has to force a 3. He gets blocked. Then Michael Porter Jr. hits the floater, and the Mavs lose this game. What was the most egregious thing to you? I'll start with Isaac. What was the most egregious thing at the end of this game that you say that's the reason why the Mavs lost this game, just in the late game execution?
Just not running any sets, like running any offense, and kind of. I think you see a difference a little bit in what Denver did those last possessions of running some sets. They're running. I mean, look at the ball movement that happened to get the ball to Porter Jr. Getting it off the dribble and getting a one-handed floater from, it felt like 3 feet from the rim, compared to the last, few Mavs possessions that were, we have 2 of the best ISO players you could maybe say of all time. So it's like, you kind of like get it. But still it doesn't feel ideal that, I want to give Kyrie all the praise in a little bit. The last 2 shots, a little forced by Kyrie. Definitely the Luka shot was forced too. But yeah, it's just, I think just some of the execution on the ball movement and all of that at the end of the game. You're like, where was that? Where was the cutting? Where was the, screens? Klay come off a screen, all the stuff. But it's easy to be podcast quarterback too.
Yeah, this is an ISO heavy team. They've always been in the Luka era, so that's what they're going to do. Like, they're going to isolate late in games. They're going to that's what they want to do. Like, we don't need to run around and sugarcoat it. That's what Luka wants to do as well. Like, that's the type of offense they want to play late down the stretch of games. That possession was one of the more shock. Like, I don't understand what that possession with 50 seconds left in the game was. You're up 2, a chance to go up multiple possessions. If you miss a shot, whatever, but you don't get the ball up across half court until there's 15 seconds left on the shot clock. You don't even get within 30 feet of the basket once. And then Luka shoots a 30-foot three. I don't, for the life of me, understand what that was.
I'll tell you what it was. It's playing scared. It's playing scared. That's what they did. They played scared. They're in Denver. Got some injuries. Luka was a game-time decision. And you're like, all right, we've got this lead. We got a good defensive stand on the last play. We've leaned on our defense so far this season. And you run down the clock with a minute left. In NBA basketball in 2024, there's too much time with a whole minute left to do multiple plays for you to be running down the clock. That's not as valuable as trying to get a good shot. To me, it was playing scared, and I don't know who called it. Was it just Luka made that decision? Did Kidd call for it on the sideline? Can't imagine that's the decision that an NBA coaching staff came up with.
What's the play call right there?
No, to run the clock down. To run the clock down, okay, right? Run clock, run the ball. You know what I mean? Like, if we're doing a football analogy, to me, it just felt playing scared. And I feel like this Mavs team has done that this season so far. And they haven't put the foot on the neck or whatever this Jeff Skin Wade quote is that they always say, you take it to your opponent. And I just did not feel like they did that. And that play was just so it embodied that to me.
It gave me kind of like Twitter highlight feel. I mean, you score in a game in which your bread and butter this game that kept you in this game wasn't your outside shooting. It was you scoring 62 points in the paint, and then the last most important possessions of the game, you're not getting into the paint. Like, you could still do that and still get into the, like, you've proven that all game that you can get into the paint. And if you get into the paint, you can still get an open three if you just get in there and the defense collapse and then you get the open three. If you're Michael Malone, what's the one thing like you really want in that possession? You want a tough, far out 3-pointer because you've been getting torched in the paint all game. You don't want an open 3-pointer. So you're like, hey, let them have the step back 3-pointer or the contested three. And that's what Dallas is kind of playing into it the whole time. So I think that was almost kind of like the story of the whole game for me. It felt like we were playing Denver's game plan the entire game. I felt at times that they were like wanting the Daniel Gafford play in the paint in which Gafford was scoring different times. Like, if I'm Michael Malone, I'm like, sure. Like, keep on doing that.
You won't be able to do that late, right? Like, that'll run out for you eventually.
Keep on doing that. Like, keep on feeding him. We'll live with the shots in the paint because what did they end up? How many threes end up shooting in this game? Dallas is the most lethal whenever they're shooting a ton of 3-pointers. They only attempted 33 in this game.
Well,
so
they weren't hitting them.
And it's like, yeah, they were getting in the paint and they weren't, hitting the threes and stuff. But it's like, it just felt like a lot of the game plan stuff was going Denver's way, and especially late in the game, it was like it shifted a little bit. And I think Michael Malone actually outcoached Kidd for a lot of the game.
I don't know if I thought the Mavs offense was good. I don't know if that was my read from it. I think the Mavericks did a great job attacking some of those blitzes, and I like Gafford getting down low. If that's lively, you're kicking out to wide open 3-point shooters. But Gafford doesn't have the playmaking in the short roll that Lively has. The Mavs are just missing their threes. I mean, this has been a bad 3-point shooting team to start this season, and they were bad once again tonight. And they just got to hit. I mean, at some point, man, they got to knock down these threes. Like, that's just really it. Their offense isn't going to look good until their 3-point shooters get going. Klay's been bad since the third game of the season, really. Guys like PJ, when he was healthy and playing, hasn't been hitting threes. Luke has been bad from 3. The bench guards are just a nightmare. Like, I don't.
Quentin Grimes has got to hit a shot, guys.
Dinwiddie's got to hit a shot.
I'm just.
Do you guys buy into there's some restricted free agency stuff at play here?
I mean, I don't want to.
I don't understand.
I hate trying to read into stuff like that, but when you're looking at Dinwiddie as the third guard guarding Jamal Murray next to Luka and Kyrie, you're like, what are you getting out of this lineup? It just doesn't make any sense for me. And I don't think that's the reason why the Mavs lost this game. I don't know that Quentin Grimes makes even a 2 or 4 point difference. Maybe he does, but I don't understand that. I do think that the 3-point shooting that you said, I mean, at the end of the third quarter, it was 12. Denver had 12 of 23, and the Mavs had 5 of 23. You getting outshot from 3 by 7 is a brutal thing to try and overcome. And they almost did it, which is kind of wild, but that big of a deficit, you just don't overcome in a lot of games. It ended up being 10-14 by the end of it because Kyrie hit a bunch late. But man, like they do have to start hitting their threes, and Isaac, you were like, they got to start taking some more threes, but they gotta hit the ones they've got now. Like, hey, you're not going to be. We can't give you more unless you take you get what you've been given right now, and take good care of what you have. They just haven't done man.
4 of 25 on 9 Kyrie threes.
Yeah,
is that bad?
That's tough. That's tough to win
good.
a basketball game right there.
That's a recipe from Lubies right there.
Coming up, let's talk about Luka, because there are some decisions. Talk about Lubies and get some Jello. There are some decisions from Luka. There are some other things in this game, and then we'll talk about Kyrie, because he was absolutely great in this one. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
I don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action. Check out FanDuel and see what is available for you. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place the best bets in the NFL as well as the NBA. They've got all kinds of NBA odds. The Mavs are up to plus 1,000 in finals odds. They're actually ahead of the Nuggets, plus 1,500. I don't know if people would be surprised by that today. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening, especially on a day like this. The weather was amazing on Sunday. Took my dog to the park and we walked around. It was great. And then now we end the day, gentlemen.
Did you look up Bronny highlights?
I was watching Bronny highlights earlier. Slightly. Did you see the Bronny highlight that ESPN shared where it's literally just him jumping really high? Was
that a week ago or something?
I don't know. I just saw it on TikTok today and I was cracking up because it was just him jumping. He didn't even get to the ball. He just like jumped really high.
It was a good jump though.
It was a really good jump from him.
It's a good jump.
But on the Maverick side of things, they lose to the Nuggets in this one. Another clutch game loss. Mavs dropped to 5-5. The Nuggets are now 7-3. So all the making fun of Denver that we did at the beginning of the season is now can be reversed. The Mavs start playing well, and I'm not even going to take injuries as an issue, right? PJ wasn't in this one. Lively wasn't in this one. Maxey was supposed to be available in this game, but he was a coach's decision and didn't play.
What do you mean not an issue? Because I do think it's like massive that Dereck Lively and PJ Washington are not playing.
You should still be able to win this game, even with those guys injured, right? Like, yeah, it would be better, but you should still be able to win this game. You got 2 stars.
Yes, because I'm lumping the Suns game into this too, because both of them were a combined 2 losses by 3 total points. Yes, you could have won both the games, but I also don't want to look past or act like Dereck Lively's Dwight Powell and he's out, or PJ Washington's not a starter that's playing 30-something minutes a game. Like
the Nuggets didn't have Gordon either. Like to me that
very true. Yeah, very true. But it is a huge thing. It is a huge thing that they're missing those guys.
I agree, but I think I agree with Nick, though, where it's like their start to the season's been disappointing beyond the injuries. Like they're not playing. They're 500. They played like a mediocre basketball team through 10 games, regardless of who's been on the court. It's been very frustrating.
I want to say I was going to praise Gafford for a second, because I think there's only a few players on this team that are playing like really good basketball right now. And for me, it's like Kyrie, Naji Marshall. I think Gafford's playing some good ball. There's some things that Lively would do better, I think. But like Gafford I feel like he has gotten better with like finishing strong around the rim, to where like I was watching some stuff the other day of when he was in Chicago, and he was so much skinnier back then. And now to where he's like bulked up so much to where even going against like Nurkic the other night, I mean, just going like just straight up over his face, he's gotten pretty good and pretty confident at that, to where it's not just like catching lobs. And so I think he deserves some credit with that he's finishing around the basket. Wish he could have got that tip in at the end, but yeah, no, I think he's playing his role well. But man, we missed Dereck Lively.
He is 16 points, 7 boards. He had 3 assists too. We were talking about the Mavs got like legitimate double teams in this one. It felt like a throwback. It's like, oh man, Mavs finally got these double teams where the center had to break the trap in the middle of the floor, basically on the free throw line. And so he had a couple of assists out of that, had a couple of steals, a couple of blocks as well. Thought it was a good game from Daniel Gafford. He even had that late stop on Jokic. Like you get 2 out of 3 stop, or like 1 out of 3 stops on Jokic late, that's a win, right? Like I'll take that as a win. So even with 5 fouls. So yeah, Gafford, if we're going to talk about some positives, I thought Gafford was a positive in this one for sure.
Yeah, his finishing at the rim was really good in this game. He's just, the numbers back this up. He's not a good rebounder. He's not a good defensive rebounder at all. And there was some tough tip-ins by Jokic there at the end. That's Jokic being Jokic, though. But yeah, Gafford, his finishing was really good tonight. I mean, he did a great job in the short roll. That really impressed me.
The age-old question, though.
What?
Do rebounds matter?
Of course they matter, Nick. They've always mattered. Don't even.
Always.
They only lost about like what, 2 or 3 tonight? Yeah.
Well, that's a throwback to like 3 years ago. 3 years ago now. If we're gonna go into some positives, Kyrie Irving, absolutely insane.
Wait, you don't want to stay on any negatives right now? I know I kind of switched with Gafford.
No,
we'll get them all out for a second,
we'll go positives and we'll get all our problems out at the end here.
All right.
We'll have a therapy session towards the end of this one. 43 points.
Better help.
17 of 22 from the field, just was dialed in, hitting any kind of shot. That shot that he hit with 139 left, the fadeaway banker shot was absurd from Kyrie. And he's been really good to start the season. I thought they were going to win this game towards the end. And I was gonna come in and be real hot and be like, Kyrie is playing like the best player on this team right now, because in the 2 games that they would have won if they had won this game, against the Suns and then against the Nuggets, the Timberwolves and against the Nuggets, the 2 games they've won against good teams, Kyrie has gone off. And like that was the difference. This one didn't end up being like that, but still, man, he was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, Kyrie's been great to start the season. It just feels the offense this is the way that it's felt so far this season through 10 games. Just prefacing this because this could change, but the offense feels like it flows better. And it feels like it moves more when Kyrie's initiating any type of action. Like it feels like, he can still beat, 32 years old. He still beats his guy. That first step he has is insanely quick. He still gets to his spot. He still puts pressure on the rim. And he's been just phenomenal to start this season. I mean, tonight he was incredible, the shots that he was hitting. He's at 52% from 3 this year. That was before tonight.
Insane. The numbers do not back that up, because the lineups that have played with Kyrie when Luka sits have been awful. Like just absolutely. They have not figured that out. I talked about that in the show a couple days ago.
I don't care what the numbers say. Like those on-off numbers at this point in the season are going to be so weird.
I mean, he had
the lineup and stuff.
He had that stretch tonight. He hit 10 straight shots. I mean, just dealing. Slightly say shooting over 52% from 3 this season, and he shot 70-something% from 3 tonight, I think. He's shooting over 50% from the field this season. So his shooting splits, to start the year is insane. Tonight, having 43 points, he's been the best Dallas Maverick this season, and that's just, he's the leader of the team, and it's looking like an all-star campaign.
It really is. Yeah, I was thinking that tonight too. Like if obviously he's not going to shoot 60% from 3 this season, but
how do you know?
Well, I mean, that would be quite literally historic. So by like 20 percentage points.
That's because we're out here making history slightly. We're out here making history.
Okay.
But no, Kyrie's playing really good, efficient basketball, and you saw it tonight when he was taking over the game. I mean, once again, we've talked about this before, but it's like watching a Luka team in which Luka's bringing the ball down in the 4th quarter, and you're like, hey, can you give the ball up?
Give the ball to somebody else.
It's like, I kind of want Kyrie to have the ball. And obviously Kyrie missed, those 2 shots at the end. They're tough shots. And, he'd probably have over, the decision to shoot those shots. But still, I think it doesn't take away with how efficient he's playing right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's been unreal.
Absolutely unreal. You start to think through, like, man, he was cooking Christian Brown in this game too. Just had him stuck flat-footed, had him second guessing every single thing he did. The Kyrie thing that he's been doing a lot this year, we saw it last year, but I don't think as much as we've seen it so far this year, is the thing where he has a live dribble, 2 feet on the ground, and he's on the 3-point line, and he just like makes the defender pause, and it doesn't even really jab step. He just kind of like fake pumps the ball up and down, doesn't even go into a shooting motion, and then just like
sizing them up.
Yeah, just size him up and down, looking around, and then all of a sudden just like pulls up for a three, and he's quicker than a defender can get up, and he just gets a three off in that moment. And he did that a bunch tonight, and he's done that a bunch of the season so far.
That jab step into a three
corner.
is just
it's
automatic. It's just automatic, man. He's been incredible. You want to hear something crazy if we're going positive?
Oh yeah, please do.
I just looked at this. After tonight, the Mavs are now a top 10 offense.
Whoa.
They're 9th in offensive rating, 6th in defensive rating. So
we should have let it ride.
The advanced numbers say they should be much better than this.
Well, I'm going to say the Pacers game played a lot into that. This game played a lot into that, and then the Bulls game was crazy. Played a ton into that so far.
Yeah.
We're just going to go. It shows how much those numbers get completely turned. And they were They were 15th in offense before. Was it before this game? Yeah, I think it was before this game. So it's not like they were.
I mean, that Pacers game the other night, they put up 120 something points and they lost. So it's like,
oh, not the Bulls game. I meant the Timberwolves game. The Bulls game, that offense was actually really bad. It was actually technically really bad. But yeah, the Timberwolves game, actually the second Phoenix game, 124 offensive rating. Crazy. They had some good offensive games.
Let's play some defense, guys. Let's play some defense.
It's just on the games when they have crazy offense, they have not played defense like in this one. So coming up, let's get into why the Mavericks struggled defensively in this game. Let's talk about the 3-point shooting issues. Let's talk about the guards off the bench issues. There's a bunch of other issues for this Dallas Mavericks team
in general.
So many things. We'll get into all that and more coming up.
I don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get tickets, last-minute tickets, before-minute tickets, all kinds of different stuff on Game Time. You can go see a Dallas Cowboys game. I'm sure those ticket prices will go down. Mavericks games, you can go see that. Boston College at SMU football. I went to an SMU football game this year. It was pretty fun. $21 to go in and see a college football game. That's pretty fun. The Big 12 Championship is played in at AT&T Stadium in December. You can get tickets for that on Game Time. All different things. And what I like about Game Time is you can check out views from your seat. You can see exactly where you're going to sit. You're going to see you're going to turn on the all-in pricing and see exactly what you're going to pay at the beginning, and you don't have to wait for fees to show up at checkout. All kinds of great things at Game Time. Again, download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac. All right, Slightly. Let's get into it. Therapy session, letting it all out. We're just going to go around the room, and we're just going to go through it. I'm just going to say, what's one thing? And you know how at Thanksgiving, your family's always like, all right, everybody go around the room and say one thing you're thankful for. We're going to say one thing we're frustrated about. And I'm going to start with my guy, Quentin Grimes. Can we not get it? We can't get him any time at all. Omax got time in this. He had 8 minutes in this game. We can't get Quentin Grimes any time to guard Jamal Murray or to put him in there on Porter Jr. for a couple possessions or something. Like, there's something that Quentin Grimes did to Jason Kidd at this point. I don't know if it's the contract situation. I saw Kirk Henderson say something about complaining about his minutes, like openly or something like that. That's what Kidd doesn't like. Kidd went on a little rant about how Grimes needs to make a shot in order to play in games. I don't know where that's coming from because he hasn't played a ton, but he's one of their best perimeter defenders. He will be. And I did this with Reggie Bullock at the beginning of the season 2 years ago, and we got this.
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
And I'm doing it with Quentin Grimes again. I'm very frustrated that he just can't see any time, especially when they're playing these lineups of like Luka, Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Hardy, Klay, Kyrie. Like, what are we doing with these lineups sometimes? I know the kid wants to juice the offense. I get that. And they did. It worked. They did juice the offense in this one, but your defense just goes completely flat. You can't stop anybody.
I really don't get it either. But the Reggie Bullock one you brought up, I remember there was times last year where we were begging for Derrick Jones Jr. to play more. I think new guys that aren't like super established NBA players, the kid needs to see some stuff from them before he like really plugs them in the rotation. I don't understand how. And I'll speak on the Omax thing really quickly here. And I defended Kid about this a couple nights ago. Omax is bigger, and with size, PJ out, with Maxey out, like you have to have somebody fill in and play with some size. And God bless Max. But anyways, God bless him.
You still got real estate on the island, Isaac?
Oh, we sold, and insurance is high. Insurance.
My property, it's doing okay. The stores are starting to shut down on Main Street.
The insurers are out. They're not selling insurance policies anymore.
I'm hoping a few restaurants stay open right now as I keep my property.
Are they having to ship in food supplies? Like, are they are we having to airdrop things?
Not yet. But
it's only year 2,
up.
right? We've seen guys like.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
like holing up right now. I'm stocking up on supplies.
Yeah. I would like to have seen more flashes, though, which at this point in time, I feel like.
To your point about Derrick Jones Jr., though, you want to know Derrick Jones Jr., game 4, 31 minutes last season.
Yeah. But it was a while, though, before he was like in the starting rotation and playing at.
But then he also did not qualify for all defensive voting because he didn't play enough games of 20 minutes. So to that point, there's that.
Yeah. Like it took a while. Really till the trade deadline.
But it wasn't like 0. It wasn't like DNPCD.
Yeah, Slightly can go next.
Well, I'll just rip the Band-Aid off and do it. It's been Luka for me for a couple of different reasons. It feels night and day what we're watching compared to where he was at points last season. I was talking about this today with some friends. Like watching him, it feels like he doesn't want contact at the rim currently. Am I the only one who feels that way? Like his drive numbers are down. Feels like his finishing around the rim is still like good. When he gets downhill and gets to the rim, it's still good. Like he's still one of the best in the world.
He's shooting 70% before this game.
Yeah, like he's still incredible at the rim. It's just he's getting to the rim way less than usual, and he's settling a lot more instead of floaters, instead of layups with those 15-foot step back mid range jump shots, which he is good at shooting, but that's just a far less efficient shot. I'm just something that's I don't know what it is, but there's something there that's just not right currently with Luka. I don't know if it's they want him to play a new role. I've seen this criticism a ton. His touches are way down. But his numbers, like his efficiency is also way down. So I don't really know what to take away from some of this stuff early season from Luka. But that's been the most frustrating for me because we spent all summer on here saying he could be the best. He could be this is the MVP year. He's the best player in the world. And that has not been the case so far to start this season.
You look at this game specifically, if you're a Mavs fan and you've been defending Luka and saying he's the best player in the world all summer, you can't say this after watching this game. He got thoroughly outplayed by Jokic in this one.
Jokic has been on another level to start this season.
He was so
from
good.
Everybody in the league. Like it's not close right now.
Yeah, what Jokic is doing. Jokic is absolutely insane. And there's a lot of stuff. Luka's just not. So he's about to be a dad for coming up on a year. So sleep regression's real. We're probably getting close.
Give us the dad insight from what
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of waking up still in the middle of the night. He's probably baby proofing the house. The kid's probably getting close to walking, depending on where she's at. And just but no, I mean, Luka just hasn't been himself. Like it's just, there's a few games he's put up some big numbers and stuff, but the body language stuff, we were talking about before, like Bob Myers did a whole little thing on it at halftime the other day. I forgot what game it was on ESPN, but he was like, and Bob Myers, obviously Golden State rings and all this stuff. He's seen a guy like Steph Curry, how he leads a guy like Klay Thompson and stuff. And, seeing like he was talking about just the impact of Luka's body language on teammates and different stuff. And he's just been off, and it's hard. It's hard to watch. It's frustrating to watch, especially when Kyrie's like been playing at this level. And like, man, all right, can we get both of them playing at this like same level at some point? But I don't know what it's gonna take, because to Slightly's point, he's not playing like one of the best players in the league. He's not playing like an MVP candidate right now. So he's gonna have to do a lot to catch up at this point.
The touches are down. He was getting 92 touches a game basically last year. This year, 78 touches a game. So basically it's been down by like 14%. That's a big difference.
Isn't that what we wanted though? Like that's what I've been clamoring for a long time. Go out and get some ball handlers. Go out and get some guys who can take some pressure off of him.
We've been asking for that, and then
he hasn't been good enough in this new role. He just hasn't been good enough yet.
And he's still getting enough touches. I mean, 78 still your top.
Yeah,
20
he still has usage rate still mid-30s, which is super high. Like which I'm fine with. I've never been one to complain about Luka's usage rate ever.
I think most of the touches are down because they're not having him bring the ball up pretty much ever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have Naji or somebody else bring the ball up, and then that takes away a touch right there. He's just been frustrating. It's been frustrating to watch. It's been frustrating to see in some of these losses and some of the wins. I think he's been good. We've talked about him like, is Luka back? He went on that run at the end of the Timberwolves game. But yeah,
he hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been best player in the world.
That's right. Yeah. The level, the bar for him was the best player in the world. That's the bar, right? And he's not hitting that. He's not getting anywhere close to that bar right now. So yeah, he's been great for a basketball. But I mean, we're complaining about his game. He had 24 points, 9 and 9, and a steal and a block.
He's playing like Trae Young. I mean, still okay, still good, but like
Trae Young wouldn't get 9 rebounds. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. That's not. There's some stuff with Jason Kidd that I just don't understand. And I don't understand some of the rotation stuff. I don't understand the Dinwiddie stuff. I didn't understand some of the Dinwiddie stuff against Phoenix, how he was using him for some defensive stuff, especially in there to like guard Durant. And I'm like, are you trying to
guard Murray in this one?
Yeah, I'm like, are you just trying to like psych him out of like, hey, I'm gonna put Dinwiddie on here on KD so you won't call for Luka on the switch, and so you'll just like I was just like trying to talk myself into anything type of thing.
Psychology against the Suns.
I don't understand, and I might be in the minority on this, but I've kind of had the same stance with Jason Kidd over the past few years, and I haven't been able to like speak about it as publicly, but I just don't like when coaches blame players all the time. This is one of the few things I personally respected about Rick Carlisle is no matter if Luka took a dumb shot at the end of the game, Rick Carlisle would walk in there as the head coach of the team and say, that was on me. I didn't draw up a good enough play. And like, I get the whole, like, you want energy from your team and all this stuff, but his whole like little rant the other night, I'm like, all right, cool, man. But like, where's the, like, you're just like shooting darts just at the other people. Where's you as the head coach to say like, this is me. I got to do something better. I got to draw up some different stuff. And I don't know. It's just, there's some like leaders but he's been like that. That's kind of been like a thing with him, like especially with the media. He might do it behind closed doors. Don't know that. But with the media, he's very, very quick to do the like, well, they did that. Well, I'm just watching. Well, I'm just like, I don't know. I do miss that about Rick Carlisle, just taking it, owning it. And yeah,
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
My theory, I don't think he cares one bit what he tells us ever. I do not think he cares.
I mean,
that was. No, go ahead. Finish
Rick would send messages to people, to players through us. Well, Rick would play that game, and I don't think the kid wants to play that game at all.
Yeah. Yes.
Because
Rick, ask them. I'm just the coach.
Rick, would talk to reporters stuff afterwards and just like clear thing, like different stuff like that. I know Kid does something like, but I'm just going to leave it at that.
Taking responsibility, I'm there for. And like, we can talk about the drawing up plays at the end. I mean, they have not gotten a good shot off on a last second play ever. I don't know, like it feels like in the history of this Dallas Mavericks team, it feels like this one was another one. 6 seconds left, and Kyrie has to just like chuck up a wild three again. Felt like the exact same thing as the game the other night.
I feel like I'm setting up for like a complete like sarcastic Kid comment over the coming week of like, hey guys, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. It is all my fault. Like three times.
He will come in and be like, I read what you write. You guys are smart. We listen to what you guys have to say.
He does that. He does. Yeah.
And he did the thing a couple years ago where he pulled up my tweet of the lineups of the big lineups, and they're like, Dwight is our best big. And he was like going off about that. A lot of frustrating things. Let us know in the comment section on YouTube. I thought
Slider's gonna say something. Hold on.
You got something?
I was gonna say that a couple nights ago, I loved what he said to the media.
You liked
Honest
it,
to God.
He did love it.
I loved it.
I kind of liked it too.
Because we don't know what he's saying behind closed doors. So he could have been saying it after every game. And then he was like, all right, I don't know what I need to say to get you guys going. And I thought they did. I thought they were down by 10 points in the first quarter again for the 6th time in 10 games so far this season. But I thought they looked better. They just were missing every three that they shot, but I thought the energy was better. So I don't know.
Well,
maybe
they came back. It ended up being a 6-point game at the end of the first. And it was only 10 and not like 15, 20.
Right. But it is something that I found interesting is that they've been double digits down in the first half in 60% of their games so far.
The Luka, Kyrie, Klay offense just has not hummed as much as we thought. Another game where it just felt like that trio just is not flying as much as we thought. Maybe it's Klay just missing shots. Maybe it's the Luka stuff we talked about. But there you go, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show. Check the QR code or the links in the description of this podcast, wherever you are listening, watching, so that you can get more involved with Locked On Mavs. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and all of us on our socials as well. Check out the show. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Guys, thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
Boom.